Krakatoa!
That was you. After the nerf to remote raids, many players are unhappy with Niantic, and although virtually everyone online will have you believe this is the death of the game, it doesn't have to be. But why did Niantic do this, you might be thinking? In their announcement statement, Niantic essentially said they want people playing together in person. In an interview with a veteran developer, they noted that the world has largely moved back outdoors and mentions that remote raid passes were messing with the in-game economy. In 2020, when remote raid passes were introduced, Niantic showed a record high for in-game revenue of over $918 million according to third-party tracking sites. In 2021, it dropped to $885, which is still higher than any year before remote raid passes were introduced. While these numbers varied depending on your source, the takeaway is when remote raid passes were introduced, they started making a lot more money from in-game purchases. Many factors led to this revenue spike. As a mobile game, Pokemon Go was easy to pick up, and with everyone stuck at home, many people needed something to do. This created an influx of new and past players willing to spend money on the game. But what's changed? No longer stuck at home, many players have moved on back to what they were doing prior to 2020. This has had a financial impact on Niantic, as they experienced a $200 million reduction for in-game purchases in 2022. While we don't know the extent of their financials, as they are a private company and thus not required to make this information public, we can attempt to draw some conclusions that may explain their choice to nerf remote raids. While Niantic makes a ton of money from the many microtransactions within the game, these purchases only make up a portion of the revenue. Niantic's games, such as Pokemon Go, Ingress, and Wizards Unite, all rely on users' cell phone GPS location to operate. This means the game and Niantic knows your location when you're playing the game, and even when the game isn't open if Adventure Sync is enabled. If you want to hatch eggs more efficiently, you probably have this on, and it gives them access to know your specific location at all times. While you may question this data's usefulness, it can actually give incredible insight to advertisers and allow for targeted ads. Targeted ads are far more effective than traditional random advertising. Now, it is unclear if Niantic directly sells their data to advertising agencies or how it is specifically used, but we can draw some conclusions that this data must play a role in their financial success. If players are sitting at home doing raids, this does nothing to give Niantic useful location data. They were, however, making a lot of money from remote raids when they were introduced and people couldn't leave home. If they are now choosing to give up some of the microtransaction money from their remote raids and pushing people to leave their house, this leads us to believe that the location data and other parameters they track are more financially fruitful than what they are seeing from the remote raid revenue. Otherwise, it would make no sense to limit the number of remote raids a player can do, and they should actually be promoting them. Which, to be fair, Niantic and Logic often seem to be at odds with one another, so who knows. What should you do? You could go on Twitter and give them a piece of your mind, but I don't recommend this, as angry people saying awful things will often just be ignored. Option 2 is to offer constructive criticism. State what specifically don't like about this change and offer alternative options while being realistic. Or my suggestion, speak with your wallet and go free to play. Raids only make up a small portion of this game. You still have access to catching, trading, PvP, community days, events, and more without spending money. This allows you to still shiny and hundo hunt as much as you're willing to play. And keep in mind, you can still raid. Remote raids haven't been removed and you can still use your free daily raid pass. Most raid bosses are around for at least 7 days, and although the price increase is uncalled for, this still gives you 35 remote raid opportunities if you're willing to pay. You also have your free daily raid pass. If you don't want to do a raid every day, just spin a gem and hold on to it so you can do 2 another day. But I can't take down legendary raid bosses alone? This is true, but the upcoming legendary raid bosses, Landers and Tapu Bulu, can be easily duoed with the right counters, so you would only need to find 1 to 2 other people to fight them with you. While this won't always be the case, this will at least give you time to find people in your area that play or get new people to play for subsequent raid bosses. Another idea is to disable Adventure Sync and only allow location services while the app is being used. This will make egg hatching slower, but will also limit the data Niantic is accumulating, which will also hurt them financially. The last option would be to outright delete the game. While I, as a free-to-play player, think this remote raid situation is being blown a bit out of proportion, I recognize for some people this is the only part of the game they enjoy, and if that's you, then perhaps this is what you would choose to do. I'd recommend at least giving free-to-play a chance first. Besides, what's the worst that could happen? You save some money? Thanks for watching.